Hey guys, it's Crafty here from Nebula Gaming, and welcome to my Mistweaver Monk PvP guide. This should cover you all the way up to Orcs of Draenor, for all you nice and boosted 90s from the new expansion coming out, and anyone who's just dinged Monk and wants to play, has been doing PvE and wants to play PvP, or just dinged 90 and wants to play PvP in general. We're going to be covering talents, glyphs, gemming, reforging. We'll cover professions a little bit, and then the general tips on how to heal as a monk at the end. But first things first, we'll go into the talents, and we'll start at tier 1 talents. Now here guys, really, there's no way we're going to be using momentum or clarity. I don't want to really give too many reasons, but it's just the fact that Tiger's Lust makes a lot more sense in a PvP environment. I mean, you see it there, instantly clears the target of all immobilizing and movement impairing effects, and increases their movement speed by 70% for 6 seconds. Now this is perfect. I mean, this almost works as a, let's say, a not as powerful dispel. So for example, as healers, we like to dispel our DPSs when they're rooted and stuff like that. This will also have the same effect as well, so we won't have to waste a dispel doing that. Also, I mean, the boost to speed's perfect. If you're kiting someone and you need that extra bit of 70% speed, that's excellent. Also, the best thing about this, in my opinion, them things cover PvP, but the best thing is the fact that if I'm in 2s or I'm in 3s, my DPS partners, I can put Tiger's Lust on them. So if I've got a hunter with me and he's trying to kite a warrior away from him, bang a whack Tiger's Lust on him. You know, he's clears the targets for all immobilizing and movement impairing effects. He's got that extra boost of speed to kite. It's absolutely perfect. The other two really don't come into it. Maybe in a PvE situation, but we're not doing that right now, so that's fine. Now for tier 2, you really shouldn't be going with anything else but Chi Wave. I know some people do like Chi Burst. For me, the fact that it has to be in front of you, like in almost a cone in front of you, limits. Well, you have to line up too much. It almost limits the effect, in my opinion. I could see how it could be used in PvE. Zen Sphere, I don't think anyone uses it. I'm not going to cover it too much. I really don't think it's going to be as powerful. Chi Wave is where I go for this. You cause a wave of chi energy to flow through your friend and foes, dealing 876 nature damage or 975 healing. Bounce up to 7 times to the nearest targets within 25 yards. When bounced to allies, Chi Wave will prefer those injured over full health. Now there's a couple of good reasons why this is good. I mean, it gives out a pretty damn good amount of healing for a spell that really is on 15-second cooldown. You just pop that off, it bounces around your friends, it hits the enemies as well and damages them. It's almost perfect. But another good thing you could do with it, which is what I like to do and I've seen other people do as well, if you know you're about to get in arena, you get that sense where you know you're going to get CC'd, or you know there's a situation where they've pinned one of your they've pinned down one of your DPS, or they're about to burst on one of the DPS and they're gonna pin you down. If you can pop a Chi Wave off before you do that, depending on what they're doing, if they're not bursting but just doing general spread pressure, Chi Wave can pop around and put out a nice comfortable bit of healing while you're stunned, and by the time you come out of it, they should have kept them up a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to be putting out the healing, it's going to whack out hundreds and hundreds of K of healing, but it's going to give out a nice little bit just to top them off while you're stunned. Definitely a perfect choice for me. I use it when it's, just make sure it's on cooldown all the time, just pop it around. Like I said, you could save it in situations, but I like to pop it when it's on cooldown, just so I've always got that thing set up just in case I get CC'd. Now with tier 3, I've been looking through these, and Ascension I would not use at all. Maybe in PvE you could, but in PvP the extra 1 chi is not really going to be a massive help. Yeah, the mana gets increased by maximum mana by 15% and your energy regen by 15%, but seriously guys, I wouldn't even bother about it. If you should never be capping on chi at all. And mana for a Mistweaver monk is, I'll go into it in more detail, but mana for a Mistweaver monk is really not a massive deal. Power strikes I've looked at as well. Now this sounds pretty good. Every 20 seconds you gain power strikes, causing your next jab, soothing mist, spinning crane kick, expel harm, or crackling jade lightning to generate 1 additional chi. Now you see that could be pretty good. Popping up them two chi instead of 1 chi is obviously really good, because you can get more enveloping mists off and things like that. But it's not as powerful in my opinion as Chi Brew, and this is why. Instantly restores 2 chi, generates 2 stacks of mana, maximum 2 charges. So for me, the fact that it's good for them moments where, say you're either low on mana, or you've got to get that you're just ticking away nicely, and suddenly there's a big bit of burst on your DPS partner. You need that enveloping mists out. You need to be popping out them as quick as possible. You whack a couple of chi brews, boom, you got yourself straight back up there. I mean, watch this. You go whack a couple of chi brews, you're yourself 4 chi straight away. And it's not only that, it's give you two charges twice, so 4 charges of mana tea. So in the back of your head as well, you know you've got that extra mana tea in the back, ready to use when you run out of mana. I mean, I think it beats these by quite some. Definitely Ascension beats quite so much. I've not seen many use power strikes, if any. So chi brew's where to go for me, guys, here. So definitely use that. It's really helpful. Now, tier 4 is up for debate. Now I'm going to go through them each, and then I'll explain why they're up for debate. Now you can see I use leg sweep. That's because I've been doing a lot of 2s on this monk. Now leg sweep for me is really, really good in 2s. I mean, it's defensively, if you're getting stunned or there's DPS around you, melee DPS around you, you can get that leg sweep off, and you can roll, you can roll, you can LOS people. The stun is perfect for that situation. Now offensively is where it comes in really handy for in my eyes anyway, because you can, when it comes to setting up that kill, that final stun, when it comes to chain stun and some, when you CC together and you get that final stun where so the hunter can burst them down or a lot can pop off a chaos bolt, that final stun is perfect for that. Also with the kind of chain stun effect, you line up a paralysis, and then as soon as they get out of that boom and the leg sweep, you've got yourself, that guy is almost immobilized for that situation. So for me that is perfect in 2s. Ring of Peace is what most people go for freeze. It was a big thing back in 5.2, but now it kind of went off the boil a little bit because leg sweep come into it, but it's still very, very viable. I mean, forms a sanctuary around the friendly target, instantly silencing and disarming all enemies for 4 seconds. In addition, enemies within the Ring of Peace who attack or cast harmful spells will be disarmed and silenced for another 4 seconds on top of that. It lasts for 8 seconds. Now this is really good because you can place it on yourself, which is good for defensively when you've got that melee around you, or you can put it on a friendly target. So like I said before about the hunter situation, if he's kiting someone, you whack that Ring of Peace on him, that warrior or that rogue or that DK that's just going up near him is going to get disarmed, and it's constantly around him, and if they even try and touch that hunter or that friendly target, boom, they're going to get disarmed for another 4 seconds. That's 8 seconds of disarm is really not good for a melee in any terms. There's a couple of things to say though. I mean, it's really good if you go up. Also, sorry, back to the DPS point. It's really good to go if you're gonna go for that final kill and you need to stick that silence on that healer. If you can change, say you can stun him, get one of your friendly targets or you to stun that person, then you whack Ring of Peace around yourself and hug that healer. That's him almost immobilized for that, another 4 seconds or so if you can keep him there, and that'll set you up nice for the final kill. There's a couple of things there's a thing to realise though. It does share diminishing returns with other silence and disarm effects. So, say say you're with, you wouldn't be with this, but say you're with a Windwalker monk and he uses his disarm, or you use your own disarm, grapple weapon, and then you do Ring of Peace. It isn't going to be as effective. It would be half the time. So that's something to think about, definitely. And charging Oxwave, for me personally, I'll put it out there, I don't personally rate it that highly, though I have seen a lot of videos that people have been using it and been raging about it because it's been really, really good. Now what it does in essence, it fires an ox head out from the front of you, forward 30 yards, stuns all the enemies in its path. So you could line up perfectly and catch that healer and that DPS out straight away. You could also line off if you know an enemy's going to go and fear your partner, or there's a healer just line of sight with you, bang that Oxwave out and do it. But the real reason why I don't use it, and I think this is a valid point in my opinion, it seems a lot of faffing around to get it right. I mean, you have to line it up, you have to plan it right, and it's almost situational as well. Not as you know where you are with Ring of Peace and leg sweep. You know what they do, and it's very easy to set up. With charging Oxwave, I feel like you have to be skilled at using it. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people use it and they do well with it, but I feel like these two are way more viable, at least for the mid-level to push into 2k people. They are a lot more viable. Not saying you couldn't control a charging Oxwave very well, but in my opinion it's a lot harder and a little bit much too much faff for me compared to the other two. Now with tier 5, all three of these are viable, so I'm going to give you a little background on all of them and tell you why they are viable, and then you can make your choice depending on the comp you're coming up against. First, you can see here I'm using diffuse magic. That's because of the twos team we had a fight against towards the end of my arena tonight. It reduces all spell damage taken by 90%, clears all magical effects off me or you, and reverses them back to the original caster within 40 yards if possible. It lasts for 6 seconds. Now this is really good because say you come up against a lock who's got full dots in you, like an affliction warlock, and then you've come up against a priest who's also got dots in you. I think it might even work against mages and stuff, because mages, fire mages, is it? It might even work against them as well. It will reduce all the spell damage you're taking from them, and then boom, it'll put the full dots they've got on you back onto them, which is awesome amount of damage. I mean, it could also be a really good setup when you want to go for that final kill. He's trying to counter your pressure by pressuring you with dots and stuff. Bang, you whack that out onto the lock, that puts more pressure on him, and then your partners, DPS partners, come in for the kill. That's awesome. I think it's really good for a hard swap like that, but situational at best. Like I said, I changed it because I was coming up against a lock priest setup. You got to think about that one a little bit, see if you can use it, but it's not used by everyone because of how, situational it is. Now, dampen harm, this is also very good. You dampen the damage from most harmful attacks done to you. The next 3 attacks within 45 seconds that deal damage equal to 20% or more of your total health are reduced by half. It can also be cast while stunned. Now this is really good against classes like warriors, like rogues, fire mages, maybe frost mages. Basically classes that can hit. They've got that big hit. They're not one class that's going to do a long chain of pressure damage. They're the classes that have got them big swinging hits that are going to hit you 80k, 90k here, 60k here. This is perfect. I mean, think about a rogue's opener. They could chain stun you and then they'll be doing a lot of damage very quick, big numbers. You whack dampen harm on yourself. The next 3 attacks that they do gonna within 45 seconds deal damage equal to 20% or more of your total health are reduced by half. So that almost cuts their burst down completely. And even if he does chain stun you, like I said, dampen harm can still be used then. Another good thing as well, it's not on the global cooldown, so it's always going to be there to use when you need it. And I think that's definitely makes that very valuable in different situations. I mean, at first I didn't really use it as much, but now it's definitely something when you get to the higher ratings, it's definitely something you've got to look at because it's perfect for them situations. Against, like, for example, unholy DKs and stuff, they don't put out enough massive hits damage that it's going to be that beneficial against them. That's only in my opinion. I mean, you guys might have different opinions, but I think it's better used against warriors, paladins, bursts maybe, and rogues and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely. And then healing elixirs, which is also very good. Every 18 seconds you gain healing elixirs. Healing elixirs heals you for 15% of your total health the next time a damaged attack brings you below 35% of your maximum health, or you drink a brew or a tea while injured. Now this is perfect. I mean, this is used by most, if I'm honest, and it's definitely used by me in most situations, unless I can justify the other two, because the other two are very situational depending on the comp you're coming up against. Good things about it, I mean, it's good against spread pressure, because it keeps you ticking up everywhere nicely. So you got that spread pressure across your team, and you got it over yourself. You're not getting big hit damage against yourself, but you're getting that niggly dots or them niggly situations like that. Just that constant damage, not massive big hits. It's going to keep you topping you up nice every time you drink a brew. Now, brews for a Mistweaver, any monk really, with a Mistweaver monk. I mean, you got the fortifying brew, which is a defensive cooldown. You've got yourself a nimble brew, which you should be using before your trinket if possible. You've got chi brew, which I explained earlier that you're going to be keeping on cooldown. Thunder focus tea as well. Sorry, that's going to work as well against that. That's all little hills, which is perfect. And also, it's been updated that when you drop between 35% health, if you have got stacks of healing elixirs, it automatically activates them. Boom, you're going to get some nice bit of health there. I mean, it's definitely, like I said, it's probably the most used in my opinion, just because it's more of a general. It could work against any comp in my opinion. I mean, the other two can work against certain kind of competition. That can work across the board very well. So in that situation, I'd say you see I've got 53 tomes of clear mind. I'm usually changing in between them. as much as I can, depending on what I'm coming up against. Now, tier 6 is up for debate. One thing I'll clear up right now is Russian Jade Wind is not used unless maybe you're a Windwalker, but not with Mistweaver, definitely not. Now, most people use Chi Torpedo. Torpedo a distance in front of you, dealing 31,000 nature damage to all your enemies and 34,000 healing to all allies in your path. It replaces roll and travels further than a roll. Now, this is used by most because, short and simple, the reason is, puts out a nice amount of healing and does a little bit of damage. And it's just easy, it's just there. You're going to be rolling like you do. Chi Torpedo is a little bit further. You've got that heal coming off. You aim it right. In freeze is perfect. You aim it right, it's nice. Now, you can see I'm using Invoke Zoom. Now, like I said, I've been doing a lot of 2s. And this, for me, gives us a little bit of an edge. Because when you come up against the healer DPS comp, you know that DPS is going to be doing damage. You know the healer is going to be healing. But if me as a healer, as a Mistweaver monk, I've got all these DPS spells that can help me put pressure on the enemy as well, and Zoom does a mass amount of damage. Also, with my statue here, if you look at Eminence there, when the monk deals non-auto attack damage, which Zoom will be doing, the Summon Jade Serpent statue will heal the lowest health nearby target within 20 yards, equal of the 25% of the damage done. So basically, the key point about that is the fact that when it's doing damage, you've got yourself healing from Zoom as well. Now, Zoom does put out a lot of damage, so the healing won't be as much, but it is damage on top. I'd say, if you want my final opinion, use Chi Torpedo in freeze. Get used to it. I'm still trying to get used to it because I have been using Zoom a lot. Zoom is viable in 2s, definitely. Maybe in freeze if you've got a high pressure setup, but Chi Torpedo is mostly favoured. There is a place for Zoom though, so don't feel like it's a matter of that's going to affect a rating to a certain extent. It's basically what you think is best in the situations you've got. Alright, let's move on to Glyphs. Now, there's a few Glyphs that you can use here. At the moment, I'm using Glyph of Life Cocoon, can now be cast while stunned. Now, that is, to me, the one that has to be used. I never change that at all. The fact you can pop off that massive Absorb shield while stunned is amazing to put on an enemy if they're chain stunning you to kill, no, sorry, not an enemy, a friendly target. If they're chain stunning you as the healer to burst down your DPS friend, you can put it on them or yourself if you're getting chain stunned, then burst down. It's awesome for that. Second one I'm using at the moment is Glyph of Paralysis. Your paralysis ability also removes all damage over time effects from the target, and that's good because when I first started out and didn't have that glyph, paralysis almost become unviable when it comes to the fact that you forget that you've got your mate who's a lock who's got dots on the target, or you've got that hunter, that survival hunter that's putting dots on the target. Paralysis won't work then because it completely gets removed after damage is done, or damage is getting done from ticking damage. So that just wipes everything off them and keeps them in that paralysis. Nice. I'm using Glyph of Fortuitous Spheres here. Now, Fortuitous Spheres, can't really say that very well, but basically Falling Blow 25% health will automatically summon a healing sphere near you at no cost. Now, granted, people will argue this is more of a PvE thing. I still like it in PvP to know that I've got that passive of a sphere going to drop at my feet. If I cannot move and heal myself, that's going to pop me back up. Now, usually it's the one I swap out. I like to use Detox, can be helpful because I'm always detoxing my arena partners when I can. It gives you a nice little 5% heal. Manatee is also viable. I don't like it as much. I prefer channeling my Manatee, but there is obviously there's downsides to channeling as well. People use that a lot. There's a Nimble Brew one you could do. It can also heal you for 10% of your maximum health. That's quite a bit of healing for just popping off a Nimble Brew. Renew and Mist, definitely good. Your Renew and Mist travel to the furthest injured target within 40 yards instead of the closest one. Now that's perfect because you want your Renew and Mist healing the person who needs the healing that's furthest away because you can't quite reach them. Also, one that I haven't got on here that is definitely used is Enduring Healing Spheres. Now it increases your healing spheres to last for 3 minutes longer than they do already. So that's perfect if you're setting up them healing spheres in a way that you've already pre-planned it with your comp and against your comp, sorry, that you're using and the freeze team you're using. If you pop them healing spheres in a certain place, they're going to be there for a while and not moved unless you recast healing spheres again. So that's perfect in that situation as well. Now, if we quickly before I go on to gemming and reforging, if we quickly go on to the professions I said. Now, I'm currently using blacksmith and engineering, which is perfect in my opinion. That I've got use for engineering with that, with the hands, popping that extra that extra intellect, giving them bigger heals. And obviously in BGs as well, you've got yourself the what's it called, the glider, and you've also got boots as well. Blacksmithing perfect for them extra slots on your hands and wrist. In my opinion, and from what I've been reading and watching, people are using, top level players are using blacksmithing and jewel crafting just because they're both the professions that can make the most difference when PvP power or PvP resilience change, because you know it fluctuates between, sometimes that intellect or strength is better than PvP power, sometimes you know you want more resilience or you've got too much resilience like we are at the moment with the 80% resilience. Jewel crafting gives you the ability to make them gems, blacksmithing gives you the ability to, you know, give you more slots to put them gems in, so I'd recommend doing them too. But engineering is also viable, so I wouldn't go around changing your professions just on what I'm saying. Every profession has its benefits. I'm just talking about if you want to min-max everything, blacksmithing and jewel crafting would be the best. Engineering is still viable as well though. Right, now on to reforging and gemming. As you can see, I've got a couple of 550 pieces, but I'm nowhere near full geared yet. I haven't got weapon yet. I've been playing my paladin, but the way I've got it built up is I'm gemming crit and spirit with the odd intellect in there in the red slots. Sorry about that. Yeah, the odd intellect in the red slots as well. I'm going for the spirit build just for the fact that with a monk, there's two ways you can go. I could gem pure intellect, which will give you that more spell power and more bigger heals basically. But with the fact that you reforge crit as a Mistweaver monk, kind of like the shaman build where you're relying on them crits to give that extra bit of healing that you're not expecting, but then crits happen quite often because you're reforging crit. So you don't need the intellect for the strength of the spells. Spirit is more important. I mean, I know you do have mana tea, which is awesome as a Mistweaver monk, but having that extra mana or that better mana regen is perfect and just more viable in my opinion. But it's literally, if you did gem intellect, it wouldn't be a massive problem. You would obviously get the benefits from that as well. Like I said before, with reforging as well, so you get your haste soft cap. Firstly, don't forget, get your haste soft cap, so you get that extra tick on enveloping mists. That extra tick can do everything when it comes to a little bit more healing. It makes enveloping mists even more powerful. And then you get that crit. Like I said, you go crit and then mastery. So haste soft cap, crit, and then mastery. Crit is your main stat as a Mistweaver monk. You want them crits happening all the time. I know I've only got 25% crit here, but it does crit a lot. Believe me, my healing spheres crit a hell of a lot when they happen as well. It's crazy. I've had them crit up to like between 180 and 200k before. That is crazy for a thing that costs 6,000 mana. So yeah, like I said, reforge, haste soft cap, crit, then mastery, and you'll be set. I recommend, I'm not going to go too much into add-ons, but I do recommend getting that Reforge Light add-on. Is perfect. It will help you out there if you're new to Reforging and stuff, which you shouldn't be by now, but if you are new to the game and stuff, Reforge Light will take you through there step by step and be perfect when it comes to reforging right. Now let's get on to how to heal and the general thing of healing as a monk. Now, first things first, it's not, as a healer, it's never going to be a rotation. I mean, there is things you should keep doing, but I'd call it more like a rep paladin, where it's more of a priority than an actual rotation. You've got to react to what the other team's doing damage-wise or the situation yourself is in. So that's the main thing to think as a healer. There's never going to be a rotation. Don't ever search what's the healing rotation. I'd see there's more of a priority order in my opinion though. Always keep your statue up. Always keep your statue up. You know, when like I said, when you do non-auto attack damage, it does some passive healing as well. Also, when you cast Soothing Mist, the Jade Serpent statue will also cast Soothing Mist itself on another injured ally within 40 yards. Now, Soothing Mists is your main chi builder. You keep this up all the time. And like I said, the statue will also heal someone else within 40 yards that needs healing. At the moment it's healing me there. But also, if you notice, that is a nice cheap way of gaining chi, and that's the best way to do it. The best way it should roll. As you can notice, I'm using Voodoo, so I won't be, nothing's keybound on there, so I'll keybound with Voodoo. Now the main thing to do is keep up Enveloping Mist. When you're casting Soothing Mists, your Enveloping Mists, if I can read it here, your No, sorry. Wait. Oh well. There's a passive thing. I'll find. I ain't gonna find it. I'll explain it better. But when you're casting super mists, things like enveloping mists, surging mists, they're all instant cast. There's no cast on them, so I can just pop off an enveloping mist for free, and there's no cast time. Now, what I tried to do in arena is most of the time make sure I've got super mist ticking over as much as I can. You want to build that chi up, and like I said, you get that free enveloping mist as well, pinging off really fast. If you're in a situation where you can't cast that super mist off, you have to hard cast the other things. Fair enough, but I do recommend it. Make sure you're casting super mist all the time and popping off the enveloping mist, because it just makes things a hell of a lot easier. But enveloping mist is your main spell. This is the thing it's going to be ticking away nicely. But as soon as you've got free chi, make sure you put that off to your friendly targets. If they're at full health, fair enough. But in arena, the way it is unless you're really dominated another team, you're going to have that damage constantly around. So an enveloping mist ticking over nicely, you're constantly topping them up. This gives you as a healer a lot better chance of keeping everyone alive, and adding that extra pressure on the opposite team, knowing that your mana's still full when you've got that healing happening for yourself without having to really spend much mana at all. Now, things like Chi Wave, which I've explained, Expel Harm, which is also another really good Chi builder, really cheap, does a nice little heal, does a bit of damage as well. Things like them, Chi Wave, Expel Harm, and Renew and Mist should all be kept on cooldown. So you want to always put a Renew and Mist on someone. That just a little tick in Renew and Mist. If you're in freeze, you just stick it on all them. It bounces between everyone. Nice bit of damage. Not even have to think about it. Just ticks away nicely. And then, like I said, always keep Chi Wave on it as well. Just let that bounce about. Let that do the thing. You can keep it for when you feel like you're about to get stunned and CC'd. Keep it for that situation. But all in all, keep on cooldown, because that just bounces around, does damage, does healing for you, and it's almost like a passive spell doing healing for you as well that you don't have to worry about. And like I said, Expel Harm is very good when you want to build chi, and it does an 83k heal for literally, was that any mana? I don't think it was any mana at all, so that's a perfect thing to keep on cooldown as well. So definitely keep them free on the go all the time. Now down to Surging Mist. Now this is a crazy spell. This does a lot of healing. It's a big cast time. There's a lot of healing there. See, I think that crit, but that's 232k. Now, I don't recommend it, and most will say this. Never use Surging Mists at all, unless really, really, really you need to, without using Thunder Focus Tea. Now, what Thunder Focus Tea does, this is here. Let me just get one chi or so. Thunder Focus Tea, you receive a jolt of energy, doubling the healing done by your next Surging Mist, or causing your next uplift to refresh the duration of your Renewing Mist on all targets. Lasts for 30 seconds. Now, Thunder Focus Tea, that's almost like, I called it the 1 of 3 holy shit buttons as a Mistweaver monk. So this is almost your little cooldown when you're thinking, right, this is getting a bit strenuous now. There's a lot of pressure around this team. I need a big heal right now. You pop off a Thunder Focus Tea, and then bang, you pop off a Surging Mist, and that is a 238k heal. It can crit up to even more than that. I've seen it crit like 300k, and that's almost a third, if not, well, a quarter if you're a warlock, but a third of a general person's health in PvP. So that is excellent for that. Never cast Surging Mist any other time, because of the long cast time, and people would always interrupt and catch you out when you're doing that. That just ruins everything for you there. Now these little babies are my favourite thing about the Mistweaver. These healing spheres. Now I did some tests with my twos partner, and we did some tests of him dropping from the sky and, you know, creating damage with these balls at the bottom. They say they're going to heal for about 60k, right? Now, I've seen them heal with this crit build as a Mistweaver monk for close to 150k, sometimes 110k, 110k, 110k. These cost, I'm being honest with you, these cost like zero mana, and you're popping them off all the time. Free, like 6k mana. You can have them anywhere. You can only have 3 up at a time, but you can line them up anywhere. You can line them up for your teammate who's kiting someone. You can put them in front of him, pop a Tiger's Lust on him, and make sure there's balls in the way for him to grab. Also, as a healer, when you're getting proper pressured and you haven't got that time to soothe a mist or anything like that, I literally kite like this. I kite round, drop them balls in front of me, and you're healing yourself up. Mana's not really going anywhere, and it's crazy healing. Believe me, this is absolutely perfect for kiting and just having that free heal everywhere. It's amazing. Now, I mentioned a second ago about the 3 holy shit buttons as a Mistweaver monk, almost your cooldowns. Now, the next one I want to talk about is Life Cocoon. Now, I sort of went over it as a glyph, but basically, in case it's the target of your Life Cocoon, in chi energy, absorb it says here, absorbing it for 373k damage, increasing all periodic healing taken by 50%, lasts for 12 seconds. Also usable while stunned with the glyph. Now, if I pop this off, it said 400k when you read it there. That was what, a 560k shield? Sometimes it crits up to a 700k, and that is my, well, this shield on the moment is my health on top of my health, and any healing I do on myself would be increased by 50%. That is a massive. It's on a 2-minute cooldown, which isn't that big in my opinion compared to like a Paladin bubble, and that is an awesome thing to put out. I think I've seen it. It's saved games for me before. It's almost won games to when in the sense of the opposite team are bursting you, and you whack that shield on your teammate. You survive that burst, and you go out and you pressure them. They've got to wait for their cooldowns, and then you burst them down. Awesome spell. Always remember you've got it. Don't use it willy-nilly though. Save it for that situation where you're really like I said, holy shit, I need to put up some healing right now. Now your third holy shit button is Revival. Now Revival, I got it here. Revival instantly heals all party and raid members within 100 yards for 123k. Clears them of all harmful magic, poison, and disease effects. This is perfect, not only for the fact it does, it's almost like a master spell with the healing as well, but 100 yards. Now if you're, as a healer, you want to stay, if I put my statue out again, say this is a pillar in any arena, as a healer you want to stay behind there, pop out to do some heals and stay back behind there, right? You want to line of sight people so they can't interrupt you, they can't CC you. With Revival, I could be behind this pillar, my friend could be over there, you know, another friend could be over there in freeze, and Revival pops it off there, bang, it's going to hit all 3 of them no matter how far away you are. Well, 100 yards, but no, you don't have to be in line of sight, is my point I'm trying to make. Also, the main thing as well, what I only use it for in certain extent, I hardly ever use it in 2s. In 3s, what this is good for, if you've got to, say you're going up against an Affliction Warlock and an Unholy DK, that's a lot of spread pressure, that's a lot of pressure for you as a healer to try and deal with. You've got ticking damage over there, you've got a bit of damage over here. If you're thinking, holy shit, they're bursting them to my DPS partners down, they're bursting them down, you pop off that Revival, boom, it gives you that nice little uplift, as it were, for use of a better word, but a nice little revival on top of it, tops them off a little bit, or keeps that healing up, so you've got time to pop off that little heals to get them back onto where they should be. I mean, it's very, very good. It's a lot of people, it's game changing to a certain extent, which is, that's why I kind of like the Mistweaver monk as well. You've got 3 kind of different but awesome cooldowns there that can save games in different ways. Also, you've got yourself Zen Meditation. Now, I ain't going to use it right now, but basically what it does is it reduces all damage taken by 90% and redirects you up to 5 harmful spells against party and raid members within 30 yards to me. Being a victim of a melee attack will break this for meditation cancelling effect. Now, I'll be honest, every time I've tried to use this in any situation, I've been CC'd, I've been interrupted, whatever, I've been melee attacked to break me out of it. One time I have used this that's been very, very good, and I've read it on guides as well, is the fact that I play with a lock as well, and now the main thing in the arena is a lock. You want to get them portals up, you want to get them gates up. You use this at the start, say someone tries to CC that guy so he can't put his gates and stuff up, you pop that off, boom, that gets directed to you, he gets time to put his gates up. Hallelujah, you're back on game. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend using it much. You can try and use it. A lot of people have got a lot of benefits out of it. I've always been caught out while using it. But like I said, in that situation, it worked spot on. So that's when you would kind of use it as an example, anyway. But there's obviously other ways of doing it. Now, if we talk about the general terms of a healer and a Mistweaver monk in general, Mistweaver monks are hybrid classes. I mean, you see here, I am using Voodoo, so that's why you don't see many healing spells on my action bar. But as you see here, I've got a lot of DPS spells as well, like I said earlier. Now, you can be an offensive healer as a Mistweaver monk. These all generate chi. Crackling J Lightning I use a hell of a lot to add that pressure. But also, with the statue, like I read earlier, any non-auto attack damage also does some healing. So you could kind of do that kind of, I don't want to really relate to a Disc Priest, but as when you're leveling a Disc Priest and stuff like that, you're pretty much sat in dungeons, healing that dungeon while doing DPS. It's the same kind of thing as a monk. I'm not saying the DPS healing as a monk is going to be greater than the actual healing as a monk, but it's something to think about. You can afford in 2s to push up against and help that DPS with a bit of damage. You can afford doing that. It's an offensive way of playing. I've not grasped, I'll be honest, I've not grasped it fully yet. I kind of like to be a more of a reserved healer, as in concentrate on my job in hand, which is healing, do DPS with Crackling Jade Lightning and Zune where I can, but I only do them because they're at distance, and it gives that extra pressure. But when it comes to being up in their face, I'd rather position myself nicely away from a melee or a range, and not cause myself to get, CC'd up against them. That's not where you want to be. Defensively though, there's a lot of things you can use. Now, I mentioned earlier about when you drink brews, you get mana tea and stuff like that, but fortifying brew is a massive thing. To turn, let me go back to it. Turns your skin to stone, increasing your health by 20%, reduces all damage taken by 20% last 20 seconds. Now this is perfect. One thing I wouldn't recommend is using it, well, I would use it sparingly. I mean, use it on a situation when you think this is really, I kind of wait to use this if and when. I don't use it all the time. I don't use it straight away when I'm like 75% health, because I know I can out heal that. If you're thinking, oh man, I'm about to die, bang, you whack this on and you can heal yourself up. It's very crazy. It does reduce a lot of damage, like I said, by 20%, and your health goes up as well, so it's almost that boost as well, which is excellent, especially for spells that can, they heal you for a certain percent of your health. If your health is increased by 20%, they're gonna heal you for that, the percentage of that increased health, which is awesome. So that's one of your defensives. Like I said, Zen Meditation is also kind of classed as a defensive, but I wouldn't really call it that to a certain extent. And then one of the awesome things as well, I mentioned a second ago about Warlock's Portal. Now, if I just whack it out here, you've got this little thing here. We call it Transcendence. You split your body and spirit, leaving your spirit behind for 15 minutes. Use Transcendence, transfer swap locations with your spirit. So you've basically got an almost a portal like a Warlock, right? So this is usually when I start an arena, I'd come, say for example, I'm back over here, start an arena, behind a pillar, I've got this here, I've got myself 3 orbs, and me and my arena partner have decided, you know what, we're going to pressure fast. We're going to go in there, we're going to pressure, we're going to get that damage out, see if we can pressure that team into worrying, popping their trinket or popping them that, that paladin bubble straight away. If it goes wrong, I'm over here battling, for example, you whack off that, I get back to here, I'm behind the pillar again, because you can get, it's not about, it doesn't matter about line of sight with this spell. You're back over here, you've got your 3 orbs, you're back to full health, it's excellent. If you're with, I'm not saying this is the best setup, but say you were with a lock and you've got that as well, it's crazy. It's a reason why I call it a defensive cooldown. It's not really a defensive cooldown in the sense it's going to be defensive in that sense, but getting your ass out of dodge is a big defensive plus in anyone's case, so it's excellent as well. A couple of other spells to mention. I mean, you've got Touch of Death, which can be used if you catch it right. As for CC, you've got your Leg Sweep, which can change from Ring of Peace, like I mentioned earlier. Your Paralysis, which is awesome, good for that. I call it the pin cushion. You pause that guy, you put that guy there, and with the actual glyph, it removes all their harmful effects on them as well, so it keeps them in there. You've got the standard Monk Disarm, which is good. Now this spell, Disable, highly rated in my opinion for what it does. I mean, it reduces the movement speed by 50%. Also, if they're already got Disable on them, it will root them as well. So you've slowed them and then you've rooted them. Now this is good if you're, like I said before, I'll bring the hunter back into it. Your hunter's kiting a guy and I'm behind that guy. I can stun them 50%. They're slowing down. I root them in there as well. Keep it up. I always use it twice. I always spam it twice when I'm on the guy that I want to use it to, because it's just perfect for that. That extra root, that extra slow is excellent for that situation. That's pretty much it. But the main things to think about as a healer, right? This is how I look at it anyway as a healer. Keeping myself alive and thinking in the mindset that not that my friends, don't matter who you're with, my friend's got a CC that can help me out here. My friend's got a cooldown that can help me out here. Don't ever think like that. Yes, you've got them and you can talk between your team of how to use them and when to use them. But always think in your head, I've got to keep myself alive and then the team alive. Not saying that you don't heal someone, you heal yourself over someone else, but if you give the mindset that you got to make sure line of sight, you're not able to get CC. That's a benefit for your team. They're not got to worry that you're getting CC because you're keeping yourself away from that CC. Things like that makes you a much more of an asset to the team, and honestly, you'll feel benefits from it. I mean, it does take some learning. I'm still learning now. I'm giving you a guide, but I am still learning as well. And But it's an excellent class. It is definitely an excellent class. If you're watching this and you're not playing a monk, pick it up, give it a try. Please give it a try because it's well worth doing. It's in my opinion, it's a very good way of healing. It gives you so many options and so many thoughts in your head that you can deal with so many situations really well. It's unbelievable. I'm sorry I dragged on a bit, but I got really into it. But I want to say thanks for watching. Like the video, drop any comments you want, any things you think I might have got wrong, any opinions you want, any questions you've got, any opinions on what I'm using. If you want to, whack out, have a nice little debate, I don't mind having a chat in the comments about, different things and how they work. It's perfect. I enjoy doing that. Also, I'll drop in the description the link to our Hunter PvP guide by Jokers, who if you've been on our channel before, you've seen I've done Dead Space with. He's the hunter I keep referencing in this video, so he done a video as well. I'll whack that in the description, so if you are playing a hunter or you want to see how another class reacts, you can go check that out. Also, there's loads of other content on the channel, so don't forget to go check that out. There'll be more WoW stuff in the future, because like I said, me and Jokers are doing arena on different range of classes, so there'll be guides and stuff we can bring out from that. But thanks for watching, guys. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you leave, and we will see you next time. This is Crafty, and I'll catch you in a bit. Thanks for watching. Bye.